This week we've got special guest Andy Kyner, owner of the AXCC series, here to tell us about what they've got in store for the rest of the 2020 season. Strap in as we bring you up to the race pace. Welcome back to Race Pace, presented by CW Motorsports. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but there's a lot of nothing going on. Pretty much everything is on lockdown or been canceled. So, in lieu of racing, which isn't happening, we are bringing you, I was going to say the next best thing, but honestly probably even better than the racing itself. We've got the owner of the AXCC series, Andy Kyner, here with us today. Andy, how's it going down there?
It's going about as well as can be expected. So as long as we're talking racing, it's open.
So walk us through the past week, man. What's been going on?
It's been tough. And I don't say that for me, but just everybody wanting to get out and race for that first time, in our area and lots of times around the country, just to get together again is probably the biggest thing. And we tried our hardest, to make sure that we could do that. And obviously priority number one was safety wise. And we were probably a little more bullheaded than what we should have been. We had a lot of contacts. The owner, Jason of Mid-America, has a really good contact with the governor and the congressman down there. And so we were probably more up to date than what 90% of the people really are, because we were hearing the true numbers and everything. And right up to the very point, I promised everybody, I said, I'll tell you a second I heard, and I hung it from Jason and put it out there that we had to postpone. But it really came down to that we potentially, we could have raced, no doubt about it. But what it really came down to is as fast as it started doubling in numbers and stuff, in not just in Oklahoma, by no means, they're probably one of the better ones, but across the country, which, we were going to have people from absolutely all over Pennsylvania, to Georgia, to South Carolina, that we're going to be there, all the northern states and stuff. And it just, when it came down to it, it was a lot bigger than racing. And we didn't want to be a part of somebody taking something back, to somebody back home. And it was a real hard decision to make, but, and one decision, the other hand, it was very easy to make, that the people and their families are a lot more important than getting together for one weekend. So we'll all get together another weekend this way.
Well, we all appreciate that. Like you said, not an easy decision, but ultimately you definitely made the right one. So I guess the question on everybody's mind is, are you going to reschedule this one?
We definitely are. I told you a little bit ago, my guys all went down. Sherman and Jake made the trip down with the motorhome and two different trailers with the truck and stuff. And they called me the next morning after they got there, and they wanted to know if they were in the right place. And I said, I think so. I said, call Jason, make sure, and they go, well, this looks more like we just pulled into Walt Disney World with our ATVs, and it can't be right. So it is just that nice of a place. And there's some elevated costs involved and stuff, but this is what I really wanted to do this year was really break down where we were going. You guys were at some of the races last year, and we had 4 months to build it last year, and I'm not trying to use any kind of excuse at all. I was proud of the places that we went last year for the first year, but this year we want to have it to where anybody could come in, no matter what the weather was, be able to get in and get out easily and stuff, and just feel like, you're proud to be there. And that took a lot of work to really get that stuff done. And most of them came from riders and racers from across the country. And we've got about literally 10 other locations already on track to look out for future. So this was just one of them that we're very excited to get everybody to. And by all means, we will not finish our season without a race at Mid-America Outdoors. That's been a commitment to Jason and from him to I. And we're not prepared to make that decision yet as far as when. I don't think it does anybody any good to do it when you don't know what's going to be going on. So we're going to just kind of wait this thing out, kind of see what it is, be fair to everybody that way, so we're not messing with vacation times again and everything else. And we will get it scheduled. And worst case scenario, I would say that these guys have such an awesome place to do a banquet down there. It might be something that we have to put it at the end of the year, and we were looking at that for the future anyway. So maybe it's just God's way of telling us that we were meant to do a banquet there. So, but we are definitely going to have it, whether it's the last race or the first race. We will be there, and I think it's something that everybody's going to enjoy when they get the opportunity.
Yeah. So you kind of alluded to a little bit how you threw last season together, and I think it was nearly a year ago we all kind of sat and had a call and talked about, you're throwing the series together. Looking back, I know there's always things that you would have changed and, things that I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have done that. But how do you feel your first season with AXCC went?
Well, that's a great question, and I might surprise everybody at this because I will be the first one to admit that there was a ton of stuff that went wrong, and I don't necessarily think it went wrong. It's what I found out is here in Iowa, we've been doing our Iowa series now for 16 years, okay, and that seems like it's a big feat in itself, but when you get outside of your comfort zone, everything changes. To
Sure.
just getting people's place to stay, and your workers and, place to eat. I mean, it really becomes an issue, with getting the tracks done, and not to mention having people like Jake and Sherman that go a week before, to get stuff set up. So
Right.
it's hard to break it down, but all winter long, I tried to do that to make sure we didn't make the same issues that we had last year. And what it really came down to is processes and the way we went about things. We had, say, 10 things to do, but there wasn't a process to get from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, end up
Right.
at 10. It was just doing each one. And if you seen me, I was there kind of looked like a chicken with its head cut off. I was still
You
in
were
my,
everywhere. Yeah.
yeah. And that was my fault. I sometimes I do that with, I want to make sure it's done right. And by doing that, it's not done right, because I'm rushing around or holding everybody up. So it really made us over the winter take a look at and say, hey, we need to check this box before we go back, type thing. So when it came down to it, I feel like we've got the processes in place. I'm still not going to say that we're going to be the biggest, but we are still going to live by that same motto as putting on the 7 absolutely best races that we can. And I think with some of the changes that we've made, I think we're a lot closer than we were the first year.
Yeah. No, I that question wasn't a dig at you guys or anything. I think you did a great thing. I don't know if really anybody else that could have pulled off throwing together a season in such short order and had it come out as great as it really did. There's always going to be little issues. There's always going to be, people questioning things and all that, but it wasn't aimed towards that. But going forward into the new season, you got anything you can drop on us that, big things coming?
Well,
Exclusives.
and going back to what you just said is some people look at things different. And when you look at guys that question a decision that you made or something like that, that's actually the best thing that could possibly happen. But people look at it as it's a bad thing most of the time. But when that happens, I mean, that really puts you in a check place, to where, you get back home and you're just like, okay, was that right or was that wrong? And if you're willing to learn from each situation, then I mean, I think it's a beautiful thing when people question it because, you find out if you actually truly believe you're right or wrong and you stick with it. And, and there's chance and there's reasons we're going to be wrong all the time. I guarantee you, but we're going to do the best we can. And I appreciate what you said, but it really did. It came down to a lot of people that never planned on. You guys helped us quite a bit last year, Gosh, I don't know how many times you fed us. So, I mean, it's absolutely when someone says, well, I didn't do much. It's those little things from everybody that makes it a lot better, and we can't thank everybody enough for doing that. Moving forward, like with your question, as far as great big things, I would say the biggest thing that we have going for us this year is the locations. And that may be a cop out on the question, but when it came down,
think it is.
When it came down to it, there's a lot of great local series around, and a lot of great local series have some really great tracks, and I don't think you ever want to copy off of those tracks or try to get, I need something like that, what I'm shooting for is 7 different tracks every time. And with those 7 different tracks, I hope you guys saying Indiana, hopefully you see something that resembles yours, one time where you feel like you've got the upper hand, and the guys
Right.
from Texas might feel like they got the upper hand once. But the worst thing I could possibly do is have 7 cookie cutter tracks. So I put everything in this year to getting the locations that, like Mid America, and having a chance to do the very first one up in Elk River, Minnesota at ERX. That stuff
That's going to be amazing.
it is, and the stuff that ATV and side by side racers get to do typically isn't getting to go to these places. It's be the first time ever for that, the first time ever for Ohio track. We had our first time ever for side by sides at Loretta's last year. Now we're going back with a completely different plan. We learned from that, but it just, when I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back when I say this, but we're not afraid to do something for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is when you can go into a track that's had it before, you've kind of got like the big brother helping you,
Right.
You've got something to go by. And we're going to places this year, one of even just our local tracks, I decided to do this. And I was sitting out here with my 2 main guys in my shop, and we're looking at a track I got laid out, and they're like, how's this going to work? I said, I have no clue, but we're going to make it work,
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where getting into new places and bringing different families together, and like Minnesota, for example, that came to us as an opportunity by a racer. And I have had so many people from Minnesota call me trying to get a number for their machines to want to race up there, and Ohio. I mean, our goal is obviously to get more east, and the Ohio track is something I don't think it shocked a lot of people, and I want to thank Scotty Lawrence for giving me the heads up on that track, that's a stock car track, and we're turning it into a cross country track. So, I mean, it's truly, if someone is a circle track, a TT racer, a motocross racer, a cross country racer, there's going to be chances for all of them to have their spot to shine this year. I mean, it is going to be a completely different year than what most people are used to.
Yeah. That's good to hear. That's exciting. And I think that's what makes your series more of a national series, quote unquote, than what a lot of the other series that are just running in multiple states. Because you guys are not looking to run one certain type of track, it sounds like. You're looking to give a mix of everything, kind of the ultimate challenge of what all of the states have to offer in this side of the country, basically.
That's correct. And I think everybody that's ever came to a Heartland Challenge knows that the soil that we deal with there is completely different than what they deal with in, say, North Carolina, so
Yeah.
part of it is just hitting those. And I tell everybody too, and you kind of mentioned like a local series to a national series, is people are kind of surprised, I think, that I say this, but our competition is not the local series. That is we must have local series like our Iowa series, like your Indiana different series, Okra, Texas. We've got to have those in order for there to ever be a reason for a national series. So we want to do the most we can, and out there, if anybody's listening, I mean, that's what we're here for. So lots of times, even on the podium, I used to do this. Part of our process is I'm no longer yakking to everybody. So, that'll be better for everybody. But, one thing I always took pride in doing on the podium, talking to people, is like, hey, what's your local series? And I wish I could tell you how many people looked at me like, why are you asking about that series? Well, it's important because they're the ones that got you here, so.
Right.
So just a different way of looking at things.
Yep. So you mentioned, you and your guys, you've eaten with us and stuff like that. We kind of have our own little race family from here in the Indiana and Illinois area. But we kind of, it's a race family. We've said it on this show several times. The whole, race community is a race family. What do you need from us as a race family to help AXCC succeed this year?
Communicate, talking, word of mouth. We're not going to be big on advertising again. We just don't have the funds. We're starting from nothing and building up. We're definitely getting there, but our goal is to make as many people happy as we can and get an honest advertising. So when you go to the the store, when you go to a race in a local, if you didn't enjoy your experience with AXCC, then that's on us. And you guys, if you guys like this right here at this podcast, helping get the name out and letting people know that, it's just more about racing. I mean, I know it's easy to say that, but you mentioned the race family and stuff, and how many people we just met over the year last year, getting people to go. And, probably one of the biggest things is just knowing that, we have nothing against dirt bikes. A lot of people have called me and says, why don't you do bikes? AMA has been all over us for years to do dirt bikes. And I have absolutely no disrespect for them. My kids raced them. I love watching them. I wish we could, but the biggest thing about ours, I think, is the passion for the four wheels. And we've always been an ATV people. And obviously that evolved into the side-by-sides. So when you come, it's truly just for you. We are just ATVs and side-by-sides. And having said that, that brings that family just a little bit closer yet, because it's not so spread out,
Right.
Well, and I know as UTV, the circle that we basically run in is exclusively UTV. We really appreciate that, because it's a really, really expensive sport compared to racing dirt bikes or even quads. And it takes a little bit of a different level of dedication to be willing to put that kind of money into a car and then go cross-country racing where the damage rates are high and dragging it 12 hours to a racetrack. And honestly, I think I speak for everybody that we really appreciate your attention to detail, that you are trying to give us different experiences, different tracks to race on, different looks at things, and your commitment to that is, from the racing community back to you. We really appreciate it.
Well, I do appreciate that. And I might have messed up too. I did forget one thing about how you could help is just more food. That's always good.
Chad, you're back on banana bread.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember the last time, the first time, I guess, when you guys helped us with the meal is when we were at Davis, Oklahoma. And that just brought back nightmares by even just saying that. But having said that, that was 20 minutes just to get off the property, so that really helped out.
Well, and the way I look at it is, I've been the track sweep, I've been the guy working there, and I know your guys are putting in, 12, 14, 16-hour days, and it's just not easy for them. So, yeah, so if we can take some of that time that these guys are putting in these long hours, and we can, we have food there, and we normally have way more than enough food. If we can feed your guys, that's, we're thrilled to do it. Thrilled to help you guys out in any way we possibly can.
Yeah, that's always, like I said, you guys surprised us down there, and that was it was phenomenal. Like I said, it's a little token that we so much appreciate. That was very unexpected and a lot of fun.
If we all stick together, we can make this thing work. If we're all, in our own little camps and standoffish, then it's going to fall apart. So we're all going to pitch in and get this thing done and go racing.
Yep. And, and I don't mean to be beating a dead horse here, but what you said is exactly what we keep saying and I always say this because we're going to new locations this year, and there's some new series. I was glad to see Kentucky have a new series out this year, so we're always excited to see that. But when we go into those locations, we're 100% for you. And if we ever have to, don't see a scheduling, if there is a scheduling conflict, we sure, hate to see that. But like Okra this year, we were scheduled on theirs. We had a great conversation about it. It's just one of those things that please don't ever think that we're against you. We want to help the local series. We never, ever want to take numbers from them. And we're so grateful to have an opportunity to even need a national series, for people to compete at. And that's thanks to them guys. So.
Well, Andy, if people need to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to do that?
You can go to our website. All of our info's on there, AXCCracing.com. My phone number, it rings off the hook 24/7, and I'm always happy to, and I got to admit, I hope I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I've had a lot of people ask me, on this same thing, and they've called me, and my number's right there, and they're thinking this is a business, and it's my cell phone, and that's why I always want it to stay, and hopefully it always be that way, is the fact that if there's a question about a number, a background caller, or just a race or something, I mean, they call us, they get us direct. We're still that small.
That's awesome.
Deal. So we appreciate everybody calling, but yeah, my phone number's on there. More than welcome to email me anytime. It's my personal email is akiner34@yahoo.com. Not afraid to give you my cell phone either, and that's 515-971-3136. So if
you are putting your money where your mouth is.
If I don't answer, I promise you I will get back to you. It may take a little bit, but I will get back to you. So everyone.
Well, that's awesome. Hey, Andy, we're going to put a bow on this thing and let you get back to your evening. But before we do, we want to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors. Of course, CW Motorsports, our title sponsor for this year. We also got Spangs Fab on board, Watch Communications, and 834 Powder Coat. You can find us on the web at eminentperformance.com. We're also active on Facebook and Instagram /Eminent Racing. The YouTube version, just go to youtube.com/eminentperformance. And if you're looking for the podcast version, just go to iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, any place like that. Look for Eminent Performance, and you're going to find us there as well. Anything else there, Chad?
No, I think you got it all. You've done it a time or two.
Yeah, it's got a couple episodes under our belt anyways.
Yep.
Andy, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy man, and we really appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk with us, and hopefully we won't be strangers, and we'll get you on a couple more times before the end of the season.
Sounds good. Thank you guys for all you do. I appreciate it.
Hey, the pleasure's all ours, and thank you all for riding along with us, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.